Hey guys, Supercar Street Racing, welcome to the channel. Got a little bit to talk to you tonight about MHD. So, been with MHD for a couple of years now. Guys have been good to me. They have done nothing but positive things for the E93 BMW. N55, don't get it wrong, I know you got an N54. I got an N55. Last year it was made. Even the 335 IS still got the N54. But I got the N55. So N55 actually upgraded motor from the N54. They fixed a lot of the issues with the N54 when they went to the N55. However, the tuner market is more there for the N54, even though you can get good stuff for the N55. Let's talk a little bit about MHD. So there's two ways to flash your car. There is a plug-in unit called the JB4, old school. Plugs right into your engine wiring harness and programmed with the flashes for the JB4. It interfaces through your computer or your stalk. You can actually control maps and things with the stalk on your steering wheel, and that is a plug and play harness application, and it's very popular. And before we had Android flashing devices, you had JB4. Nothing against JB4. However, MHD is an Android flash only application. It uses a cable for DCAN. So DCAN is the BMW OBD2 port. DCAN to USB. USB to your phone or a tablet or a computer. Whatever you have, it works. It's just, you buy a cable, plugs in your OBD2 port, USB into your phone, good to go. So what are the differences? So MHD has, just like JB4, off-the-shelf tunes based on your modifications. Now let's say you just have nothing, stage 0, I just want some horsepower. Flash the stage 0 map, you'll get some horsepower. A good amount. It'll feel way different than stock, trust me, it's a big upgrade. If you want the real power though, you're gonna have to do the downpipes and the intercooler. That's where the big power is. N54, N55, same power levels, close with downpipe intercooler. What are we talking about power-wise? So on 93 octane fuel, not the 91 crap you get in California, you're probably talking about 75 wheel horsepower, which is substantial. Let's say 100 motor horsepower. Motor makes 320, you make 420. What about on ethanol? So most places have E85 available now. So what can you do on ethanol? Well, depends on what you have. So the 2011 late model N55 has a better high pressure fuel pump than the earlier models. You can do a little bit more on that guy. You can make 50% ethanol happen. Probably on the N54, you're looking at 35 to 40% ethanol as your maximum ethanol content. I happen to have the N55, the later model. I have the upgraded high pressure fuel pump. I run 50%-ish ethanol, but you can never tell, and I'll explain that in a minute. The problem with E85 is ethanol. It says E85. 85% ethanol. However, E85 can be anywhere from, at the lowest, I've seen 50, at the highest, I've seen 95. So you're lucky if you get the high end, you're unlucky if you get the low end. Usually you get 85-ish, a couple of points under over. Now, so what's the positives of running ethanol? Ethanol's cheaper than premium, so it's about $3.30 right now. It used to be $1.80. Welcome to our current situation. It makes more power, it burns cooler. All three of these things lead to better ignition timing, more horsepower, cheaper fuel, and for you, that's amazing. That's what you want as a car guy. You want the cheapest possible fuel that makes the most horsepower, burns the coolest, and just feels good to run. It just smells amazing too, if I could smell. I can't smell anymore, so I don't know. So ethanol, I run an E50 mix on MHD. So here's MHD right here. Now let's talk about what happens if you want to run more than 50% ethanol. Cannot do that. You cannot do that on the stock fuel system. The reason is ethanol has a different air-fuel ratio per parts of fuel than 93, 91, 100 octane. It takes more fuel to get the same air-to-fuel ratios than it does with standard fuel. If you need X amount of fuel for 93, you're going to need X plus whatever for ethanol to make the same air-fuel ratio so that your motor is not running lean. What's going to happen when your motor runs lean? Well, your computer is going to cut fuel. It's going to cut ignition. It does all that when I mix incorrectly. Is it a guessing game right now? Yeah, it is. It is. I don't know what I'm putting in the tank. I guess. I know from experience how many gallons of E85 to mix with 93. Now don't forget, 93 octane has 10% ethanol already, so you have to factor that in. There's good calculators online. There's an E85 calculator. I'll put it in the link in the description. But you got to know where your ethanol content is, and that is all part of getting the right fuel system. What happens if you want to run more boost than stock? Let's say you want to go upgraded turbos or a single turbo even. What do? Well, there's two ways you can do this. Unfortunately for me, my N55 does not have, nobody makes an upgraded high pressure fuel pump for my car, unfortunately. This car is direct injection. You've got the low pressure fuel pump in your tank, delivers fuel to the high pressure fuel pump on your engine, driven off the crankshaft, multiplies this pump times, thousands of RPMs, injects high pressure fuel directly into the cylinder head. That's why you can run E85. Direct injection. It's not port injection, totally different. That's in the intake manifold. This injects fuel directly into the cylinder head, so there's your difference. Now, let's say I want to run a single turbo or larger, than stock turbo. An N55 technically is a single turbo. Let's say you want to run a big single, like up top or down low, whatever. In that case, you're either going to need you're always going to need a low pressure fuel pump. Your low pressure fuel pump will not be able to handle anything more than stock. Bank on a low pressure fuel pump, E85 certified. Go to Fuel It if you need one. I'll put a link in the description. Fuel It has everything you need. You're going to need a low pressure fuel pump, and you're going to need port injection with injectors, or a low pressure fuel pump and a upgraded high pressure fuel pump. If you're an N54 guy, you're lucky. Those are available. You don't need port injection. But if you want to go port injection, MMP has a very good solution for this. It's on the screen right here. I'll put a link in the description. $580 for the N55. For the N54, same price. S55, same price. And if you always have to have an injector controller for this guy. The injector controller will interface with MHD. And I never mentioned this, MHD can be custom flashed. There are tuners out there, Twisted Tuning. There's tons of them. Do a search, MHD tuning. You'll find millions of them. On the forums, there'll be threads about, custom tuning. Those guys can interface with this injector controller. Motiv makes an amazing injector interface for MHD. Plugs right in. It's made to go with port injection and control these extra injectors. This guy comes with 1050cc injectors, comes with the sandwich plate, comes with your extra fuel rail. It's good to go, man. Look at this. It's a fantastic kit. It's low cost. It's just a good thing. I mean, look at this guy. It's all like anodized black with the MMP logo and little plugs right there. So yeah, so that's basically what is going on with MHD. MHD is a mature product. It's been out for years. It's an off-the-shelf tune, so let's not get anything twisted about this. It's not a custom tune for your car. Lots of people run downpipe, intake, intercooler. That's what they test it with. They tune it all the same way. So It's not your car on a dyno getting tuned, but it's close enough that thousands, let's say 100,000 people run it. I don't know how many. It's a lot. There's a lot of people running this. So I trust it. I've never had an issue with it in my cars. I haven't blown my cars up. The car is pretty smart. The DME knows when to pull timing, knows when to pull fuel, knows when to cut ignition. Yes, people have blown their car up, I'm sure. But I've had good experiences with it. The car runs amazing. You're gonna see it after this video on E50, 50% ethanol, 50% 93 Florida fuel. Judge for yourself. The car's not anything super fast. Yes, it gets beat. It's not a fast car. It is a fun car. The drivability is amazing. The torque is there down low. Actually, entire rev range. The power's there if you need it. So I say check it out. If you have any questions, I hope you guys hit me up and check out this next part because I think you guys are gonna like me tearing up the streets in this thing. All right, hey guys, Supercar Street Racing here again with a probably year later review of MHD. So MHD is a phone, Android, I believe it works for iPhone too, not sure, don't care because I don't use iPhone, but definitely a phone-based flash off-the-shelf system. Now, we are running the E50 map here on MHD. So, I'm a little E50 plus-ish. I'm a little E-heavy today because I accidentally stopped watching the pump when I was filling up. So, I got about 8 gallons of E85 to the rest 93, which was about 7. So, I'm a little bit heavy. It might break up, it might misfire. When those air fuel ratios get a little bit too lean, it will cut fuel or spark. And so that's where we are right now. We also have the flashed transmission here, XHP, not race, but the one right before race. I think it's like stage 2 or whatever. So living with this for a year. Definitely have had issues. Now, you got to know that the 335i is going to have issues with coil packs and plugs. When you modify this car, the first thing that's going to go is your coil packs. They get weak, they fail. So you got to expect that that's going to happen in this car, okay? Like, when you modify this car, you change the coil packs immediately. You don't need like aftermarket coil packs. You don't need any of that garbage. That's a scam. If you're not on a single turbo or like running some kind of crazy amount of horsepower, you don't need aftermarket coil packs. If you want them, by all means go for it. Will it help? Sure. Do you need it? If you're not getting 30 pounds of boost, I mean stock boost levels plus a little bit is not going to need coil packs at all. And there's plenty of proof of that on the internet. You don't have to trust me. Go ask somebody. Go read. But this guy's on a lot of E85, and you can see the thing absolutely gets out. Like, it's fun. It's a fun car. It's probably making around 21 pounds of boost, and that's hitting like the limits of the stock turbos are in the 21 PSI range, and you don't even want to really run that because, I mean, you can, but just don't do long repeated runs because your EGTs are going to be up there. Remember, you're dealing with a small single turbo N55. This is not some twin turbo setup, and it literally is running small diameter piping from the stock, from the factory. You don't want to be doing like long repeated drawn out pulls unless you've got an EGT gauge. Now if you have MHD, which I have on this Android, you can monitor everything with the gauges. I mean, I'll see if I can get it to come up, but basically, the longer, the harder you pull on this guy, the more EGTs you are going to generate, because small turbo is working overtime to make 20 pounds of boost 21 pounds of boost plus. And eventually that heat's got to go somewhere. So this is my data logging, and it always has to go twice. So you have to tell it, you know, yes, I agree to let me. Okay, so there's our gauges right there. If you're looking for a review of MHD, this is it. MHD is amazing. It's an off-the-shelf tune. If you want a custom tune, like, this is not for you. This is an off-the-shelf. This assumes that you know how to do E50. This assumes that you have analyzed the content of your ethanol. This also assumes if you're running E50 that you're post, I think the dates are late 2011 due to the high pressure fuel pump. So make sure, that's nice Porsche. Make sure that you're running the correct high pressure fuel pump to do E50. It says it in MHD when you go to flash. It'll say like a certain date and later. Make sure you have the supporting mods, and then you can flash the MHD E50 map. Just remember, ethanol content varies from fill up to fill up, from tank to tank on the fuel pump. You know, when you go to the fuel station, when you go to your gas station, E85 is not always E85. It can be E50, but there's like a little, I mean, barely giving it any fuel. Of course, these guys always come out because, you know, they don't know about yield. Yield doesn't mean anything to them. Did you see that? Got cut off by this stupid Tahoe right there with no mirror. His passenger side or driver side mirror is like literally fogged up to the point he can't see. So estimations in this car, it's got actually a horsepower graph right there, which really means nothing. But this car is probably making 380 wheel to 400 wheel, depending on, the guy's got no fucking taillights either. Upper 300 wheel, which in this car is really fun. I've had 1,000 wheel horsepower cars before. It's not like that. This car doesn't pull hard all the way to redline. It pulls really hard to maybe 6,500, 7,000, and then that's 6,000, and then it loses steam. The turbo is just too small to really pull all the way to redline. Now, the good part about this car is that the response is insane. Like, all the torque is literally available from zero. That's the best part about this car. Now, when you start adding bigger turbo, you start increasing the turbo size. It's a single turbo. It's an N55. It's a twin scroll or whatever you call it turbo. You're going to have some lag. You'll get some better top end, but you will have lag. I'll show you guys an update here in a little bit when I'm able to actually get on the gas. But for now, see you in a couple minutes. All right, guys, checking out the MHD E50 mix for E90 BMW. So E50 is designed for the later model N55 with the newer high pressure fuel pump that comes after, like, it's like late 2010, I believe. I'll have to look it up for you guys and put it in the link, but we're going to check that out here in a minute. Let's get the MHD going here. So if we go over here to the, somebody's already playing over there, wants to mess around. MHD, where are you? Right there. Now, if we get to MHD, notice how it's all messed up because of the aspect ratio. Now we're going to go to monitor, and it's going to ask us if we want to allow USB. We have to do it twice. Okay, yes, we do. There's our gauges. So we've got RPM, coolant, gear, intake air temperature, battery voltage, oil temperature, oil pressure, and boost. And over here we've got horsepower and torque. Can't really do much right here, but when we get to like a better place, but here's a good look at like MHD. So we're definitely a little heavy ethanol. So it could be some misfires. Might blow a coil pack or two. You never know, man. But there's horsepower torque there on the right hand side of the ID4. I think my display is a little bit cloudy. Let's see. Yeah, I think it was a little bit jacked. We'll be back here when we can actually do something. All right, so just a little bit of drivability on MHD. Literally, you can't tell at all that you're tuned when you just are driving down the street normally. E85 cold start is about a second longer than without E85, and so that's acceptable to me. I don't have smell anymore because of COVID. I've lost it for over a year. I don't smell anything related to fuel or oil, so I don't know anymore what E85 smells like, but I've been told the car smells like E85. So it's got that corn smell going. And other than that, the transmission has nothing to do with MHD, but transmission on XHP has some hiccups here and there, but mostly they've got it down. Like they've got it nailed. So I don't have issues with that anymore. It actually shifts really good on sport mode. And you notice, like with the ID4 instrument cluster now, I'm in regular mode. That's the theme I have set for regular. If I flip it over to sport, it goes like this. So yeah, we got a bunch of freaking slow people here. Yeah, we're gonna have to let people go in order to do something with video. I can tell already because people are driving like morons tonight. So I'll hit you guys up as soon as we have a free space. All right, people are literally driving like fucking idiots tonight. So I'm letting people go way ahead, hoping nobody gets behind me. So we can do a little pull here from 0. Let's turn traction control off. Oh, somebody's behind me. So I probably pull off and let them go ahead, I guess. Yeah, they can go on over. They can go on by, dude. And there's more than one. There comes another guy. After he goes, well, we'll go on out there. Hopefully nobody will be coming. Oh, there's another one. These people just never stop. Come on. Go, 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 go. Hopefully that's the last guy coming right there. Looks like it might be. All right, let's get out here. Let's stomp it from here. All right, here we go. Here we go. From stop, no traction control, MHD E50. Somebody like stopped right in front of me. Let's do that again. There's somebody behind me, so I'm gonna pull off up here and try again here in like 2 seconds. All right, so the car was a little bit cockeyed. The car's running really good though. Like, it feels great. I think they might have turned off. Yep, they did. They turned off. Okay, let's get out here. Here we go. E50, MHD, E85. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, right from scratch. There we go. There's 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And that's all we can do on this little road. So that's 0 to 100. MHD. E50. Car's running so good, even with a little bit too much ethanol in the mix. Good run, man. Good run. So there you have it. I mean, that was no traction control. Car broke loose at first gear, but this car hooks up freaking awesome with Pilot Sport 4S's. Yes, the car's not anything amazing. It's not like a supercar. It doesn't make 600, 700 horsepower. It makes 450 at the wheel. I mean, at the engine, 425 at the engine. That's plenty, man. You're gonna get yourself in trouble with anything more. But I just wanted you guys to see how cool E50 is on this car, and it runs great right now. And you saw it. It's not like doing 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds or anything like that. Maybe 4, maybe 4.5. Who knows? But man, this car is fun to drive, and I absolutely love going out on the street and getting people who want to play, because it surprises a lot of people, and yeah, it doesn't beat everybody. That's not the goal. The goal was that when I had my IS300 with my Supra swap and my Supra with, you know, 800 wheel, 900 wheel horsepower, that's when you beat most people and bikes, or, you know, 80% now, because everybody's got 1200 horsepower Lambos and Audis and all that. But man, that was fun, guys. Over 2 years, I think, with MHD, and still a blast. I don't know how much boost we made. It usually about 20 psi, and the horsepower readings always go over 400. So I love that. I just love it. It's just so much fun, and I hope you guys get a 335i, and I hope you tune it, and I hope you hit me up in the comments and ask me questions and want to know how to do it. I'll be glad to help you. MHD 335i. Later, Gator.